I wonder how many people realise that Greek culture has influenced our views of the future for over 2,000 years. As early as 500 BC, Greek philosophers fundamentally changed the dominant view of time. They replaced earlier cyclical views of time with the concept of linear time, bringing us past, present, and the new concept of future, to μέλλον. Subsequently, Plato was the first philosopher to shift the concept of the future away from being a predestined part of God's divine plan. Plato's Republic was a human-centred utopia, an ideal society created by men and women. I'm Jennifer Gidley, the author of the book The Future, A Very Short Introduction, and I'm speaking to you from Australia. I'm really excited that my book has been translated into Greek, and it's the first academic book in Greek in the field of future studies. I want to sincerely thank the University of Crete Press, Dr. Epaminondas Christofilopoulos, UNESCO Chair on Futures Research in Greece, and the translator for creating such a wonderful book. To μέλλον is the fourth translation of my book after Arabic, Turkish and Italian. The book draws on my 40 years' experience as a psychologist, educator and international futurist. For 8 years I was president of the World Future Studies Federation, a UNESCO partner and the global peak body for future scholars in 60 countries. The Federation was founded in Paris in 1973 by some of the 20th century's leading futures thinkers for the purpose of democratising futures thinking. A critical question we must ask ourselves is, do we actually have a future? Some people say we're living in times of existential crisis for humanity. We're certainly living in extremely challenging times. The global pandemic has not gone away after 3 years, with almost 750 million cases, leaving almost 7 million people dead globally. Climate crisis is becoming ever more critical, with record-breaking heat waves causing wildfires, superstorms and sea level rise, pointing to unprecedented mass migration. And the invasion of Ukraine raises the prospect of a drawn-out European war and once again the spectre of nuclear threat. So while the need to understand the future is more important than ever, there's another problem. There is no one future that can be predicted. The idea of one single future stems from the Newtonian building block worldview, where everything is mechanical and predictable, including humans. This worldview began to unravel in the early 20th century when quantum physics opened the door for multiple possible futures. In Chapter 2, The Future Multiplied, I discuss the shift from a predictable future where humans are powerless to multiple futures where humans have a choice and agency. This coincides with the pluralizing of the name for the field to Futures Studies. In Chapter 3, The Evolving Scholarship of Future Studies, I argue that prediction is only one of several approaches to studying the future that have evolved over the last 50 years. We now know that multiple futures are available simultaneously. In fact, there are as many possible futures as there are people on the planet. So how do we turn the global challenges around? If humanity is going to be able to turn around the global challenges that are facing us, we need much more than bureaucratic policy changes. We must redesign all our operating systems to meet the crises. We will need a complete overhaul of our thinking, our education, the way we urbanise, our economic systems. This will require a radically new mindset, an evolution of human consciousness. When we realise there is no one predictable future, but multiple possible futures, it can empower every individual to imagine, design and create better futures for all. Human agency can change the course of human history. It's the only thing that ever has. My biggest challenge in writing the book was to condense the vast amount of knowledge and experience I've gained over 20 years into this very small introduction to the future. But after many edits, in the end, I think it's worth it. It's very heartening for me that the Future VSI is a set text now in futures courses in universities around the world, and it's also available in several languages. In the introduction to the book, I distinguish between various terms used to study the future, such as prediction, forecasting, foresight, and prospective, to name a few. Then I take a very big picture view in Chapter 1, 3,000 Years of Futures, by exploring the rather colourful way that humans have talked about, tried to understand, and even to control the future for over 3 millennia. One of the important contemporary issues at the heart of my book is how we design and create human-centred futures in the face of exponential technology development. In Chapter 4, I debunk the trivialisation of the future studies field by the mainstream media, with its focus on crystal balls, flying cars and robots. As an ambassador for human-centred futures, I discuss the centuries-old battle for human futures against mechanisation in Chapter 5, Technotopian or Human-Centred Futures. Here I explore how human-centred futures have been appropriated by Silicon Valley. What they're really doing amounts to human downgrading by deliberately building addiction and distractibility into the technology. They're downgrading humans. And young people are suffering for this with mental health problems. What we need to do is democratise and humanise futures thinking, to empower everyone to be agents of change in creating a better world for all. To this end, my book is for anyone who wants to better understand how we continually create the future through our decisions every day, and how we can empower ourselves to design and create the futures we want. The book is also a concise and comprehensive overview of the future studies field for professional futurists and researchers, for educators, policymakers, students, and anyone at all. In summary, if we're to come through the huge challenges we face to the health, safety, and even habitability of our planetary home, we need to think much longer term and with a higher purpose to protect the common good. Future studies can help us to better understand what is coming, but most importantly, it can empower us to imagine, design, and create better futures for all. The Future to Μέλλον is my definitive work on future studies. I really hope you enjoy reading the book in Greek. Thank you.